And welcome to Southern Virginia University. We are live from Knights Stadium on Knights Broadcasting. Scotty Winterton, Adam Peterson here to bring you this championship game, the USA South Conference between the Southern Virginia University Knights men's lacrosse team and the Pfeiffer University Falcons. This was a billing that started at the beginning of the season. I think when you look at the preseason polls, you'll see that both these teams were right at the top, 1 and 2. It played out that way. Even though Pfeiffer came in the third-ranked team in the tournament after losing to Piedmont, I talked with Coach Nelson about that game, and they held some players back. They didn't show some things. They really kind of prepared for the conference tournament game as opposed to the conference game that would get them into the conference tournament, because they were going to be the 2 seed or the 3 seed, and they're going to be playing Piedmont either way. This tournament has played out the way we thought it would. The Knights dominating Greensboro yesterday. Pfeiffer in the end, 5 straight goals in the fourth quarter, dominating the game yesterday as well. So bringing both these teams together in this conference championship game, fantastic opportunity for both teams. And what's on the line here, Adam? Trip to the NCAA tournament, which Pfeiffer was able to garner last year, winning the tournament and ended up playing Lynchburg in the first round.
Yeah, got a tough matchup against Lynchburg, one of the better teams in the country last year. But still, that's something to put on your resume, getting to go to the national tournament. And the Knights want to be able to say the same thing for the first time ever, to not only make it to the tournament, but also to win the conference, both regular season and the conference tournament. So a lot on the line here today.
We have some really fantastic matchups. Starting off at the faceoff X, we have 2 of the very best, the first team and second team faceoff men in the conference. But this young man that we're going to see, talk about the Falcons faceoff.
Yeah, Tucker Hill leading the country in face-off wins and face-off percentage. That's a good start for the Knights, as a violation is going to be called against Hill. The Knights are going to get the first possession. But Hill's really impressive. It was nice to see him yesterday. He struggled a little bit yesterday. Piedmont put some pressure on him, and to see him fight back and show his maturity, athleticism, and just overall ability. He's a great player, and it's going to be a fun matchup, him going against Jaden Arnold for the Knights.
79% face-off win percentage, as you mentioned, #1 in the country. Here we have the rookie of the year in the conference, Gabe King, dodging. I think they're going to say he stepped in the crease. It's going to be a turnover. He got to a spot, but it was in his right hand. He really doesn't take many shots out of that right hand. Good job from the defense to just force him into that right hand. In the end, he ends up turning the ball over. And in the ride, the Knights are really wanting to put a chaotic flavor to the transition game. And I had a chance to talk with Coach Nelson last night. I'll talk more about that later. But that was something that he said it's a different game when you play SVU because of the chaos as well as the offense, which is, they want shots in the first 30 seconds. 20 seconds if they can. There's no such thing as holding. And here we see Quinn Beecraft, number 28, leads the conference in goals. And there, fantastic shot, Jacob Leone on the assist. That left-handed shot stinging the top right corner of the cage, just over the head of Caleb Brody, who both of these goalies yesterday in their respective games had fantastic games. That's a really great start for Pfeiffer. The Knights really kind of laid it to Pfeiffer early in the game last time they played. And for Pfeiffer to get out to this start was really important.
Yeah, and Leone, as you mentioned, is going to get the assist as Jaden Arnold wins a face-off. Starts a little bit of a fast break, but pass just a little outside, and Tenney is unable to catch that one. Going to be another turnover, 2 turnovers in 2 possessions. But Leone for the Falcons is oftentimes the benefactor of having a guy like Beecraft. That we saw the early slide coming from Justin Mitchell, which you have to do against a player with the ability of Beecraft. but Leone's so smart, gets it out of his stick really quickly, finds the open player more often than not, and it was a great shot there and finished by the Falcons. And really, after losing the first two faceoffs, they're going to have an opportunity to go up 2-0 against the Knights, which would be a wonderful start for them.
Yeah, Leone, that's his 10th goal on the season. He has 22 assists. Normally he's the man dishing out the assists. B-Craft comes in, as I mentioned, with 60 goals, 4 goals per game. Knights having to rotate. Late on the rotate. Big shot, right-hand side, off stick from Caleb Brody. Fantastic shot from number 32, Trevin King, second leading scorer in terms of total points. Also, second leading scorer in goals. That's his 36th goal of the season. Only 6 assists on his end. That's a normal thing for Trevin King. He's put a lot of points up in his senior season, this culminating season for him. Big, strong player, 6 foot, 188. Went to Apex High School in North Carolina. As you mentioned, a 2-goal lead now for the Falcons.
Yeah, and really an ideal start. And another win. Ideal start for Jaden Arnold, except for a little bit of a slip. We do have some rain. And it's forecasted to rain throughout this entire game, so conditions will play a little bit of a factor. Might be a little bit slippery. Brand new turf this year, so shouldn't affect it too much. But Jaden with the slip right there, but still Coach Lamb's going to be happy with him. 3 face-off, 3 wins.
We have Trevin King and Jacob Leone in on this first line, along with Matt Scriven, who got the assist on that last goal. Looks like B-Craft will be matched up with Cook, Garrison Cook, who had a goal yesterday in the semifinal game. 21 against 21, as JT Cotrier will play Leone. Now back up the top, preseason All-American short stick midfielder Carter Bean ends up playing both midfielders. Now he's on King. You saw Michael Brown there with that, what we call a jump slide. It's a really offensive-minded slide where you're trying to get a turnover, as opposed to a slide where you might have to go because your teammate is beat. That one almost snuck between the wickets of Caleb Brody. He's able to make the save for his first save of the afternoon, and the Knights will attempt to clear and get an offensive possession.
Yeah, and that's good for him to see a save. Caleb, along with almost every goalie I've ever met, is huge on momentum. And once they get one, you oftentimes are going to see him get a second one. So that's good to see him get on track after 2 quick goals for the Falcons.
Sean Lamb with the left-hand shot hits the outside of the net. And we'll see the clear. Nice job by Pfeiffer to get the ball out early. I'm sure this is something Coach Nelson went and talked with his team about, wanting to get the ball out as quick as possible from the stick of Matt Stocks, who's a very athletic goalie. We saw it in spades yesterday, where Stocks would get the ball, not afraid to go over, not afraid to be very aggressive with the ball.
After a slow start, down 2 goals. But we talked about this yesterday at the end of the Knights game, as that shot sails wide. Looked like Isaac DeJarlis might have gotten a piece of the stick of Matt Scriven. But some jitters. It's the first time the Knights are ever playing in a conference championship game. Good save there from Caleb.
That one could have been a very dangerous moment. We saw yesterday that a number of the Knights, that one over the top of DeJarlis, he's going to catch up to it. And eventually, Tennyson Schmidt, leading point getter in the conference. That ball deflected. Sean Lamb will corral it and slow things up as the Knights will reset. Johnson coming off. We've seen him get a lot of playing time. Richie Johnson came in with, I don't think we saw him the first half of the season ever on the field, and here he is. Got a goal yesterday on the field early in the first quarter. It's good for the sophomore from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Spoke with his dad yesterday. He says, it does smell like chocolate, but when the wind's blowing the wrong way, it can also smell like fertilizer. There's a lot of cows up there. And the shot from Tennyson Schmidt finds the back of the net, cuts the lead in half. The Knights are now down 1-2. Tennyson Schmidt putting the Knights on the board.
Unless it's an obvious transition situation for the Knights, the ball should touch Tenny's stick every offensive possession. So many good things happen when he's involved with the offense. Whether or not he gets on the score sheet with an assist or a goal or not, which oftentimes he does, as you mentioned, leading the team and the conference in points. Yesterday eclipsed the 100-point mark and also broke the single season point record for the Knights.
Yeah, 102 points so far. He averages 3.4 goals per game and averages a total of 6 points. Total of 6 points per game. So anytime the ball touches his stick, you're going to probably see good things happen. Here we see Colin Thornton. Ball looks like it might have hit the black. No call made. We have a 50-50 scrum, and what a ground ball by Garrison Cook. That ball pushed up ahead quickly. It's on the ground. It'll be a 50-50 ball. And we see some fantastic athleticism. That might have been an early transition opportunity, but the ball gets fumbled by King. Carter Bean, the tic-tac-toe, and the great defense. Flag goes down. What great defense from Jeremiah Schneck to get back and stop the opportunity for Tennyson Schmidt on the transition play, but he ends up pushing Schmidt in the back because Schmidt had possession of the ball. When the push came, they're going to call it a penalty, and it'll be 30 seconds. We'll get the first power play for the Knights.
Yeah, not only it was great recognition defensively, as you mentioned, but almost even better recognition by Tennyson Schmidt on that one. Realizing the pass kind of took him away from the goal, had no angle, not worth it to kind of sneak around, but just lets his momentum take him that way, knows the defender's not going to be able to slow down, takes the push, but there's a turnover.
The throwaway early in the man-up possession.
Yeah, not what you want if you're the Knights.
The Knights go into their match feet ride, and this is fantastic job from Jalen Jones. Jalen, first team all-conference short stick midfielder. I know Carter Bean took that as a little bit of a personal hit and wanted to get in and show that he's just as good as Jones. But when you see that kind of clear from Jones, you realize why he is a first team all-conference player.
Yeah, very athletic. Showed it off yesterday as well as today on those clears especially, but also getting it done on the defensive end.
DeJarlis and King face off. King wanting to get to that right hand. Low angle shot. As a defender, especially when you're a short stick, you're not really trying to take the ball away. Your goal is to be disruptive. That ball might be a throwaway. If it goes over midfield, it does, over and back. The pass from Sokolowski going awry. Schmidt dodging in the middle of the field. Bounce shot finds the upper left corner. I have no idea how you would stop that shot. Stock's doing his best. Can't catch up with it. That is as dirty of a shot when you're shooting from 7 yards and you can bounce and hit the top left corner. That's a save that not many goalies, if any, in the country can make.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, just got to keep feeding him the ball, and we've seen it over the past 4 years. Well, now in his 5th year, thanks to a COVID year, but been getting it done for 5 years now, and really just hitting his stride, and so is Jaden Arnold as he wins another face-off. Jaden
comes in, solid face-off, second team all-conference, 57% win percentage, which is fantastic. It just pales to 79, yet he has really turned this into a 50-50 situation at the faceoff dot. Knights come in with their second midfield. You see Zach Sullivan, the California native, went to Chaparral High School. That shot corralled eventually by Stocks.
I think that was actually a pass that he was trying to get it to Tenney, and it got tipped and ended up in Stocks' stick.
And we'll see Stocks not afraid to go over right here. Gabe King's going to end up playing him. Stocks, he's got a chance to go to goal. He was going to take the shot. Eventually the ball ends up on the ground, and Caleb Brody will corral it. He'll throw the safety pass to Garrison Cook, and the Knights will transition. Cook will find Schmidt. Now the Knights pushing down. Schmidt wisely pulls the ball out as he was triple teamed or saw a triple team coming. Such an important part of lacrosse is to recognize the dynamic situation. So you start, you're going in, and it looks good, and then all of a sudden you have a man beat, and that turns into a triple team. And you've got to feel that, see it happen ahead of time, bounce out, what we call bouncing, which is pushing away from the pressure, and then get your hands free to find a pass. That one goes over the top of Connor Hackey. Over and back called. Beecraft quickly on the ball, the restart coming. I had a chance to, as I mentioned, talk with Coach Nelson, and he loves the play of Beecraft. It's just an interesting dynamic because Beecraft was really the recipient of Jared Nelson's play. So Jared Nelson, who graduated last year, and we would be remiss if we didn't bring up this situation. Not only is he the brother of Coach Nelson, but he is the all-time assists and total points leader in Division I, II, or III lacrosse. So in all of college lacrosse, that's what Pfeiffer lost last year to graduation. And Beecraft was definitely a recipient of that fantastic play from Jared Nelson, who's now in a medical sales company and doing fantastic. But now Beecraft's had to take on a whole new role with Jared Nelson gone. The slide coming and doing a great job keeping control of the ball, but then eventually loses it. And Michael Brown trying to track the ball down. He does. And he'll find number 30, one of the largest players on the team, Landon Barney. That pass in the double team, probably ill-advised. We've got some quick up and down going, and the Knights will try to ride this ball back.
Yeah, not only ill-advised, but first really poor pass, not only decision, but pass from Tenney right at the feet of Sean Lamb. And it's going to be another turnover for the Knights.
The Knights now have two attackmen on defense with this match feet ride. Tennyson Schmidt's going to really try hard to shut off Leone. And Gabe King, he's playing another first-line midfielder, Scriven. He would be wise to get off the field. He can't. Scriven, very tired. So Knights able to get a short stick midfielder on. DeJarlis will come in, as will Colin Thornton. Tennyson Schmidt going up against Leone. That ball barely deflected and will just trickle out of bounds. Jason Ciosi, no, Caleb Brody will pick it up. And quickly ahead to Knorr, who had a fantastic game yesterday, a hat trick on his mother's birthday. I guess, yeah, it was her birthday. I think she was out celebrating in Oklahoma. I think it actually was her birthday yesterday, so had a fantastic showing in honor of his mother, I'm sure. Thatcher finding Tennyson Schmidt on the crease. What an amazing save from Matt Stocks, going to his knees to grab that one. Invert opportunity for the Knights. Jones Not getting super physical with Knorr, but did force him to a low angle shot. And Conference Rookie of the Year, Gabe King, will initiate with 49 seconds left on the shot clock. Great defense from Big 29, Dallas Whitney, the senior defenseman from Vestal, New York, playing like a New Yorker. Schmidt, who's being played by Fitzpatrick, normally an LSM, comes from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and a goal! Fantastic play from the Knights.
Yeah, that was Tiger's best shot of the weekend. Yeah, just a little bit of a rocker step, not even much, slight hesitation, but throws the defender off just enough, and that pings just the off hit, and it was just, there was no way that was getting stopped.
And Stocks is really good, but the not only the heat, but he really wasn't all that far out and put it in a perfect space. That's a really hard save to make, and we see Tucker Hill get a clean face-off win. He's got Michael Brown. The Knights are shutting off, looking to double team. Smart shot from Hill just to put the ball wide, let his attackman chase it down. Just as good as a pass. First midfield in again is Scriven. Will go up against Carter Bean. Brody getting a bit of the deflection on that shot. Not a lot of power on it. And then 0-0 show on the clock. Both teams got to feel good, Adam, about their play. 3-2 for the Knights, but both teams having chances, opportunities. Coach Nelson's got to feel really good about the clearing, which definitely was a worry. They're 6 for 6, as the Knights are. Both teams clearing on 100%. We've seen a little bit of sloppy play in the 6-on-6, but the transition has been really clean for both teams, and the goalie play's been good.
Yeah, both teams did really good getting the ball across the midline, and then that's when the issues started in the transition, which just shows how both teams are really pressing out. Defenders coming all the way up, riding, especially the match feet with the Knights, causing a lot of issues for the Falcons. But we talked about this one yesterday, how this first quarter might be up and down and have some pace like that, just with the nerves and knowing what this game entails.
So when we looked at the game, you and I sit down, we look at the stats. These two teams bring a lot of firepower from the offense. The defense is kind of unsung in both of these teams, and it really feels like the goalie play will be the key, as both teams will need their goalies to fight against the high-powered offense of these teams, and we saw that here in this half.
Yeah, goalie play is going to be huge, and whoever can clear the ball better and limit their turnovers. We talked about that yesterday. It's going to stay true today.
And 50-50, I think, at the faceoff dot, where that's a huge win for Jaden Arnold, who's had his ups and downs in the season, but a fantastic job by Arnold, as here he goes up against Hill. He goes early. No, they're going to say that Hill went early, and another faceoff win for Arnold. So Arnold doing his job to keep that. If he keeps it at 50-50, he has not only done his job, but then some. Sean Lamb slipping, as you will see these Knights go early. Even while they're substituting defense for offense, and Pfeiffer's not matching feet, they've already have their defensive personnel on. You'll see Schmidt and Lamb look to push. Lamb trying hard to get to his left hand, finds the adjacent pass. Great save by Matt Stocks. Went down low, little worm burner action from Ty Veers, and Stocks reading that shot all the way.
Yeah, and Ty usually likes to get a little more of a bounce on that one. It usually ends up about, as we're gonna have a flag here, but that shot from Ty usually ends about off hip height. That was a lot lower. So we'll see him try another bounce shot again. I know we will, and it will be about hip height. But that was a great save, and that's on the scoreboard. We just have that being his first save, but I think he's had at least a couple.
So we're going to go man up here, a second power play for the Knights. What happened was Knights go into a 10-man ride, and Stocks tried to find a player over on his left-hand side. It was intercepted by Eric Knorr, and then Jalen Jones got his stick on the top of Knorr's hands and held it there long enough that it ended up being called a hold. So that's why the Knights are up 30 seconds in this power play. See if they can do something a little better than before. The Knights come in with an incredible power play percentage overall, 46.9%, but in conference it's 56.3%. So they've done a great job in conference in finding the back of the net in the power play.
Yeah, that's good for top 15 in the country. They only have 5 seconds left here. We'll see a shot from Ty. Blocked, great block.
Off the stick of Fitzpatrick, doing a good job getting his stick in the shooting lane. And this ball up ahead to Jones, who we've seen very much a threat in transition with his speed. He finds a cutting Pfeiffer midfielder. That's Caleb Connell, the freshman from Peterborough, Ontario. One of two Ontario natives to come down here as freshmen. Have a chance to talk a little bit more about them. He is doing a fantastic job just in transition. And anytime you can get that ball down below or around GLE in transition, you can always look back upfield to midfielders. A lot of times you'll see younger teams, younger players, keep the ball high. They'll move it up to the midfielder instead of getting it down to GLE, and that really stifles cutting opportunities from transitioning midfielders.
Yeah, and it was a good job by Connell. Didn't really throw much of a stick check. It was more of a head fake. Got Caleb moving to Caleb's right to the left side of the goal from your view on the screen, and that got just enough to free up that top right corner and able to put it away and tie this one up at 3. But that really started on the ride for the Knights that never got set up, partially because it looked like they thought that they were still man up, and they went to more of a zone ride when everyone else on the back end thought that they were matching feet. Eric came off a little late. Michael Brown didn't know if they were going to be offsides if he went over. Just lots of confusion, but good job by the Falcons to take advantage of a little miscue from the Knights.
And a good job killing a second man-up penalty. Cook on King. Now Leone will get it up to Beecraft, who's got Isaac DeJarlis on him. DeJarlis knocks the ball free. Cause turnover for DeJarlis. That's his 5th cause turnover of the year, and now in transition with the ball going down the ground again, and Jones will look to transition. Double team, triple team coming from the Knights. Michael Brown looked to get aggressive here. Michael Brown leads the Knights with 25 cause turnovers. You'll see him stalk players in transition as well as in 6-on-6, trying to get the ball on the ground.
That's a really tough pass from JT all the way across to Tenney with so many sticks in the passing lane. It was kind of a slow break transition opportunity, not a traditional fast break. Like to see him pull it out as there's a pass that does not find its target.
Yeah, King was looking for Leone. Leone was not in the same spot that King thought he'd be in.
Yeah, that's the 8th turnover for the Falcons. The Knights have 7, so a little bit of a sloppy game thus far.
Former attackman Connor Hackey will go hard to his right hand, shoots the ball well wide. Did a good job getting underneath his defender, and when you're dodging your goal, you really want to get that defender on your back and then kind of cut him off, very much a basketball move. Then you just have to be ready to protect your stick in the process. the double team came, and you just had to shoot it before he was ready. Now Sean Lamb going hard against the defense of Schenk.
Yeah, that's been fun to watch for a quarter and 4.5 minutes so far. That's going to be a battle.
Mackey looking inside, caught by Eric Knorr. They're going to call a push. No, they're going to call Knorr in the crease. In a quick transition, Tennyson Schmidt doing his best to get down and play some defense to stop the transition. Shot goes off of Cook. Beecraft tracks it down. And a timeout called by Coach Nelson. There was an opportunity there for his team. They had an odd man situation.
Yeah, smart timeout, though. I think that Coach Nelson thought Schmidt was going to push Beecraft out. We don't have a great angle. It was pretty close either way, but timeout was called. And also will allow for both of these teams to settle down for a minute. Lots of running up and down the field for both of these teams.
Fun game. Very much an even game now. Shots on goal, just about even 14-12 in favor of the Falcons. That's total shots. Shots on goal, though, favoring 7-6 for the Knights. Face-offs is at a really close clip, but surprisingly, by the numbers, Jaden Arnold leads the face-off battle with 5 wins to the 3 for Tucker Hill. Ground balls 9-7 for the Knights. So things are pretty close. You mentioned the turnovers, 8 apiece. Both teams, I think, pressing a little bit, trying to make things happen, but that's kind of in the nature of both of these teams. They are not a slow down. I mean, you don't get you go back to the play of Jared Nelson.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. We
have an illegal stick penalty here against the Knights.
It'll be on Sean Lamb's stick. They're handing it back to him, which means the stick was too deep.
Yeah, just going to be 1 minute. Still non-releasable, but and that comes with the weather, which is why I know you've done this, but you got to have the bucket out at practice. Surprise the guys every once in a while. Dip it in the bucket.
Get the sticks wet.
Yep. Get used to playing with your stick wet and what it does to your pocket. And this could be huge for the Falcons. Not the best man-up team as we've seen.
Yeah, they're
about 30, just over 30%.
Right. Looking down low was Thornton. Couldn't quite find his intended target.
And that's the one thing you can't do when you're man up is turn the ball over.
Especially when it's a 1 minute non-releasable.
Yep, the Knights are going to be able to, they should be able to burn out this 60 seconds, which is now down to 30 seconds, get the ball into the stick of an attackman maybe, or your defensive midi, JT Contreras. One of the most athletic players on the field, though, so he does find Tenney, and he'll kill the remaining 15 seconds.
Yeah, his father up here from Draper, Utah. Contreras going to Corner Canyon High School. And here another Utah native, Brighton High School player, senior, 5th-year senior Tennyson Schmidt. Although he skipped a year, a season, kind of a fall season, to stay at home and work. You'll see that happen a number of times in Division III. The eligibility rules are a bit different than Division II and Division I. You have 10 semesters to play 4 seasons, and those 10 semesters do not have to be consecutive. They can come with 5 years in between. There's no time limit on it. Big shot coming from the top of the about 15-yard mark, just way out there, as Sterling Thatcher decides to step down and crank that lefty shot, finds the upper left-hand corner fact, the referee comes in taking a little look at the cage to make sure the net didn't rip. That was a fantastic shot from Thatcher. Maybe the best outside shot we've been able to witness for him this season on this field.
Yeah, for sure. That had some heat, and it was perfectly placed. That's why you see the ref go over and check the net, because it was in the corner. Stick side high from 15 yards is tough to do against any goalie, but especially a goalie of the caliber of Stocks. But when you put it that high in the corner with that much heat, tough to save.
Ball on the ground, ends up in the stick of Tucker Hill, and Hill pushed hard. He did a great job tracking that ball down, and there were two Knights that had a chance at it before he did. And then getting it into the stick of King. He's double teamed by Bean and Brown, does well to escape that. Does his best Houdini trick, getting out of that fiasco. Great job, and then a nice job getting in the middle of the field. Low shot off the knee, I think, of Caleb Brody, at least his foot. Landon Barney triple teamed and gets it ahead to what intended target was Michael Brown. Eventually it's Sean Lamb that comes up with it. Well, that is just back and forth and chaos, and now Sean Lamb had somebody coming behind him. Doesn't see him. Barney with the shot on the crease. Finds again the ball just tucked underneath the crossbar, and the Knights jump ahead 5-3.
And that's what happens when you have an offensive midi convert to a defensive midi spot, which we've seen really from a lot of players, but 3 of the top four defensive middies, Carter Bean, Isaac DeJarlis, and now Landon Barney, who switched over this year, all started playing offense. And so that transition, you can add JT to Couturier into that just because of his athleticism, and Michael Brown because he will shoot from anywhere. And the Knights in transition, when they have it clicking, are really tough to stop.
The Knights go into their 10-man, and there was an open man. Tyler Ajmian was able to get open. He had Caleb Brody on him, and eventually Caleb Brody puts him on his rear end as he tries to get the ball. That pass is knocked down from Tennyson Schmidt. This thing is back and forth in transition, and it is just hard to keep up right now.
Yeah, not sure if going into halftime in just under 7 minutes of play remaining, if the coaches are going to be happy with what's going on with this style of play as Caleb Brody makes another save. But it's a lot of fun for us to watch.
Wow, what a ground ball, and the ability to keep that from Brad Gardner, who's really stepped up his play. Ends up being first team all-conference. A bit of a surprise to him. Tension Schmidt falls down as he slips, and Cape King now is going to be forced to play some transition defense. Couturier trying to catch up to Mike Turner, and he does, and then Michael Brown.
Well, Michael Turner just threw it, thought someone was going to be behind him, and threw it to no one, and have another transition opportunity.
That save from Stocks was huge.
Yeah, just enough. Might have got it on his elbow or side of his jersey as Isaac was trying to slip that about hip high. Got just enough of it.
So we came for a lacrosse game, and a tennis game broke out as we go back and forth, left and right. And Eric Knorr will look to take on Jones. Bit of a dummy dodge just to set up the weak side opportunity for the Knights. Oh, good handles from Connor Hackey. That thing was sailing high. He gets to his right hand, and again, Matt Stocks that ball will go, looks like it's going to be kicked out of bounds. Yeah, it was by Fitzpatrick. Sneaky play, little cagey veteran play from Tennyson Schmidt, knocking the ball back off of the foot of Fitzpatrick. He wasn't sure he was going to be called closest to the ball on the shot.
Yeah, and that save against Connor Hackey on Stocks could end up being really huge. I mean, it's a 5-3 game, a lot of time to play, but don't really want to go down 6-3 right now and have the Knights get some momentum, maybe put a couple more before halftime. And that was well placed by Connor, and Stocks really had to reach across to get that save.
And you saw Sean Lamb try to go with that underhand shot, and the ball came out way early, and that's a function. And there's that left-handed dodge that we do not see very often out of Ty Veers. Not a lot of power on the shot, but he got so close, he was able to tuck it in just inside the left pipe of Stocks and putting the Knights up 6-3, as you mentioned. That save ends up being for naught, though the save you had mentioned, as Ty able to finish. But interesting to see Sean Lamb try to take that shot. When you're shooting underhand, you have to have this keep in your stick. We call it a little bit of a whip, where the ball kind of sit in the top of the stick. Sean Lamb's had to tighten his stick out because it was too deep, and now he's trying to adjust to that new stick. Great job from Tucker Hill. He has done a fantastic job. He hasn't necessarily been winning any of these battles clean. They're going to call a push, and the ball will turn over to the Knights. Tucker Hill fighting for everything that he's got when he's not winning clean, which he's not used to being in these 50-50 situations. But he's doing a great job of fighting through, and even though when the ball's 10 yards from him, he's still going after it. Unfortunate for him that the technical foul was called and turned over to the Knights. Sean Lamb and Schenk going at it again. Double team comes. Great job, Sean Lamb. That was a difficult situation because Bryce Gardner committed the cardinal violation by allowing your own player to come underneath you, which allowed the double team to come without consequences. We call it a freebie. And that freebie, well, two Knights go over, but fortunately Johnson stayed on side on this nearest pipe, and the shot comes and sails high. Stocks thought he might get his goal. I don't know how many goals he scores in his goalie career. Coach Lamb's going to call a very timely timeout.
Yeah, for some reason, the Knights had their three defensemen back, and it was a 5-on-3 for a second there. Really lucky that the Falcons weren't able to make them pay. Really smart timeout. Something to watch, though, we haven't mentioned. Sterling now playing attack. Gabe King has come out of the game, was getting attended to by head athletic trainer Chad Mahaffey. He is up on his feet now, but something to watch throughout the game. Obviously, conference rookie of the year, Gabe King, going to want to have him in the game.
Yeah, the Heber City native, a little town just north of Provo, Utah. Fantastic. Some of the country's best fly fishing rivers running through and around Heber City, and the Provo River that runs down from that area in and through and past Provo. If you get a chance to go out and fish some trout out there, you're in heaven. Call me up before you go, though, because I want to go with you. The rain subsided now. Nice to see it let up. The field is still going to be slick, but we don't have the rain coming down. It's just overcast. So 58 seconds on the shot clock. Just under 4 minutes left to play. Beecraft will start with the ball up against Garrison Cook.
And Garrison's done a really good job against Beecraft. Really haven't said his name very often today, and coming into this game, leading the conference in goals.
And there's a goal from Beecraft as he turns and looks down to his teammates on the sideline. Don't know if we'll call that the broadcasting jinx, but he heard the call there and decides to just put that thing stick side with a lot of power. Brody unable to catch up with it. He read it. He was there. Just too much heat.
Yeah, that's one that Caleb Brody would like to have back. And if you talk to any goalie after every game that they play, they will give you a handful of shots that they would like to have back that they probably could have saved, that being one of them. But Carter Bean coming right down Main Street.
Stocks with a great save. Again, a face-off win from Jaden Arnold. This is the best he's ever faced off in his whole college career, going up against the #1 face-off guy in the country. And now I don't think anybody would say he's the best face-off guy in the country, but percentage-wise, he is. And Jaden is holding his own and then some. In fact, he would say he's the better face-off man through the first almost 2 quarters of play.
Yeah, kind of similar to the situation with Carter Bean, where both him and Jaden get put on the second team in their respective positions. And it just happens to be that the player elected first team is on the Falcons team. And so they get an opportunity to prove themselves. And Jaden has done an especially excellent job.
The ball hits the turf, but Ty Veers garners it up. Mike Turner covering him, and now Tennyson Schmidt gets top side. Fantastic save from Stocks. Shot clock will reset either way. Veers comes up with the ball. 60-second shot clock. Stocks goes low on that one, backed up by Thatcher. We'll take a quick second to reset the cage. They don't have pins in the bottom of cages like they do in hockey, so it's pretty easy for them to get knocked around.
Yeah, we don't see it as often as we have today with Stocks. He really hugs that pipe and just shows how much momentum he's getting when he's moving and sliding across and trying to cut off that near side pipe, because he's moved it quite a bit. Almost after every goal, the refs have to reset it.
What a fantastic shot from Thatcher. I'm seeing players right now from Leone and Beecraft doing amazing things on the Falcon side. Thatcher, Veers really bringing the heat for the Knights. And then the ball on the ground, but Schmidt able to get it. Goalie was out. He's got an open cage, throws 3 fakes, and eventually finds the back of the net. And it's a goal for Tennyson Schmidt. One of the most, I don't want to call it awkward, but I would say unconventional shots that you will see on a lacrosse field. As the ball gets taken away, he gets the ground ball, and it was a double team coming from Stocks, who I love the aggressiveness from Stocks. I think goalies should play that. When I coach goalies, I'm always asking them, especially young ones, are you a lacrosse player or are you a goalie? And the answer better be you're a lacrosse player. And he was making a lacrosse effort right there. Schmidt just comes up with it. He didn't take the first shot or the second, and then it might have not even been the third. Maybe it was the 4th shot that he took in an open cage as Stocks was trying to get back. Now Michael Brown takes a shot. Stocks goes down, covers the 5-hole, comes up with the save and the ball and the transition quickly ahead to Hill.
Yeah, another amazing save. Stocks really has done his homework. He knows where these players, all of them, where they like to shoot. And so he's anticipating a little bit, and it's really helped him out. That's going to be his 10th save so far, and just in the first half. But as we watch the Falcons get into their offense, Tucker Hill actually did win that clamp on the last faceoff, but it was just an excellent job to poke the ball loose by Jaden Arnold, and eventually Michael Brown has the ball on his stick.
Leone trying to get to his left hand, the adjacent slide, too much from Michael Brown, and eventually King's able to put it home. When you're going to show from the adjacent that hard, and it really wasn't needed because Cotrier had done a good job shutting Leone's left hand down. Michael Brown showing very strong from the adjacent. Leone just throws an easy pass over to King, and he'll slam that ball home for the 5th goal for the Pfeiffer Falcons, and 7-5 lead for the Knights with just 47 seconds left in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, you obviously don't want to leave Beecraft. We know of his ability as Tucker Hill is able to win the clamp and control possession. We're going to have a timeout called here by the Falcons to get a last-minute play drawn up here. But you obviously don't want to leave Beecraft. We know what he's able to do with the ball in his stick. But probably the best shooter is King for the Falcons. That's what he wants. He's a time and room shooter. If he has any little bit of space, he oftentimes is going to make you pay with that right hand of his. And just a silly mistake there by Brown, hedging over just a little too much, as you mentioned. And King makes him pay and cuts the deficit down to 2. And if with this face-off win, and if they're able to put one in the back of the net before halftime, they're going to be really happy with themselves, just down 1 after a first half of play.
King's a 41% shooter, which is a really high number. He's got 37 goals on 90 shots. You do not want to give him time and room. As I mentioned, big, strong player, 190 pounds, 6 foot. The seniors spent a lot of time not only on the cage and out shooting, but in the weight room.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm going to say it again today. He looks a lot bigger than that, at least from up here in the booth. Looks to be a little bigger than 190.
Speaking of King, he'll start with second-team all-conference player Carter Bean. They'll look to kill this clock down to maybe 15 to 20 seconds. Shot clock is a non-issue.
Imagine at some point the ball is going to end up in the stick of Beecraft.
Great defense. Back shovel pass from King. Leone cannot find the handles. Great defense from Carter Bean. He wins that battle. Quickly ahead to Sean Lamb. 5 seconds left. Shot from Michael Brown. Save. As you would expect from Stocks, and if that had gone, I think he shot that before the clock ended. And in lacrosse, when the ball leaves the stick, if there is still time on the clock, it will count if it goes in the back of the cage. So there we have it. 1 half gone in this USA South Conference Championship, 7-5 for the Knights. This one's giving us everything we expected. You can have my 2 wishes that I have left because my first one's been answered, and this is all I wanted for today, Adam.
Yeah, it is. It's living up to the hype, the expectations. We talked about it coming into this one. These 2 teams are the best 2 teams in the USA South Conference, and they're putting on a show and really fighting for an important game to make it to the NCAA tournament. And just go over a couple first half stats here before we break for halftime. Everything really pretty close, except that the shots and shots on goal heavily in favor of the Knights, and that in turn has really increased the number of saves up to 11 for Stocks in cage for the Falcons. That's really impressive first half.
Hill able to equalize the face-off 7 apiece, which really wasn't what we necessarily would have expected, except for Jaden Arnold has done a great job building momentum over the last few games and really building himself into this moment. 14 of 16 on clears for the Falcons, which Coach Nelson has to be thrilled with. He mentioned to me that the chaos that the Knights try to ensue and really impose their will on other teams clearing the ball, his team has done a fantastic job. And really for me, and I talked about this with him, it's Stocks. That clear and his athleticism and his comfortability with the ball really makes it difficult to do any kind of aggressive ride because he has the ability to read the defense and beat a team one-on-one, even though the poles may not necessarily be able to do that, which is usually where you see that 10-man or match feet ride. If it's getting beat, it's usually from the poles. Stocks controlling the whole thing. He sees everything going on, and he's done a masterful job.
Yeah, he's doing his part in the recipe to create an upset today. We talked about that, and also the turnovers, which is pretty even. 11 turnovers for the Knights and 13 for the Falcons. A little bit of a sloppy play of both sides because it has kind of been a track meet.
Yeah, 13 turnovers from the Falcons, 11 for the Knights, as you mentioned. That's a lot.
Yeah, but not too far above their season averages. Both of these teams are used to playing like this. Maybe a little bit faster tempo than what we're used to just because of the game it is. But you mentioned it has been a really fun one to watch for us.
Both teams failing on the opportunities they had in man up. The Knights 0 for 2, the Falcons 0 for 1. So this, you look at this, and 2 goals is nothing. I mean, you could get Hill with a fast break goal in the first 5 seconds of the third quarter and match that with a make it, take it face off, and all of a sudden you got the ball and you're down by 1. That scenario could easily play itself out into the beginning of the third quarter. So we've got a lot of lacrosse left to go. It's going to be exciting. We've enjoyed it. Come back. We're going to grab a drink and a snack and catch our breath, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. And we're back for the second half of this conference championship tournament between Southern Virginia University Knights and the Pfeiffer University Falcons. Been a fantastic game, as we mentioned, at the end of that second quarter. Coming in, really have to see some cleanup play from both offenses. Whoever cleans it up, I think the best will have the opportunity to get the transition play happening. And there you see some of that transition play. Great save from Caleb Brody to start out, but the rebound coming off of Brody, grabbed by, do you see who grabbed that one, Adam?
Yeah, that was Braden Sokolowski.
Yeah, Sokolowski, unassisted goal, grabbing the, what we call the garbage goals. Those goals where the ball's just floating around, it's on the ground in front of the cage, and somebody's able to scoop it up. And we saw that Pfeiffer was really good at that yesterday. The face-off win coming from Jaden Arnold, tries to knock it back to Brown. Brown can't control it, but he ends up throwing a sick check, knocking the ball out of the stick of Jones. What a makeup check from Michael Brown after missing the ground ball. Lesson for life, you know, sometimes you miss the ground ball. Sometimes you drop the ball. Don't hang your head. Just keep fighting for the next play. This one underneath the Gabe King. He runs through the crease as Stocks makes the save. So I didn't mean to be prophetic about that first goal and coming down. Great handles. Opportunity in transition. That ball is knocked down by Brad Gardner. They're going to have a violation called on the Knight. I think somebody stepping in the crease, or violation called on the Falcons stepping in the crease.
Yeah, I think that was Caleb Connell, who had the amazing one-handed grab to even keep possession for his team. Thought we might see it slow down a little bit, but that has not been the case in the first minute and 20 seconds of play in this third quarter.
So I mentioned that you could come down, get a quick goal off the face-off, and have a chance for to tie the game up. It was Michael Brown that turned me in from a potential Nostradamus to just a guy who can think a little bit. That one ahead to Ty Veers. He had an open opportunity right where he likes to shoot from. I think he could have pulled that back to the far pipe. Had a better shot. Don't mean to second guess the shooting of Ty Veers because he's a man that knows how to shoot the ball.
Yeah, and we don't see him miss cage from that spot on the field very often, as that shot from Eric Knorr from a really low angle just sends it wide. Knights will keep possession with 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
Veers from Castle Rock, California, went to Rock Canyon High School. His senior year, one of the best high school players in the country. Stocks sees that shot from Thatcher and reads it all the way. We had a great angle on that, Adam, and Stocks saw that ball coming. Even though it was really close in, he saw it coming all the way. This shot, it's going to be backed up by, I don't know, that we don't have the call yet. I think that the Falcons were closer, but the referees look like they're going to, I don't know who this referee is going to ask. The other referee was a mile away.
Yeah, probably the right decision. Those are so hard when there's four players clumped together and it's barely rolling out of bounds off a 80-yard shot.
Yeah, closest to the ball when it went out. Boy, that one it didn't make it to the cage, fortunately for the Knights.
Yeah, that's Garrison Cook's at least second block today. Coming up really big.
Eric Knorr will clear the ball successfully.
Yeah, Knights got a couple good looks on their last possession. Sterling was forced to get something going at the end of the shot clock, and that's an even better look when Tenney's able to just run right across the crease, throw 2-3 fakes, and send it past Stocks. The defense just stopped.
Fitzgerald got beat pretty handily, and I'm sure he thought he'd have help behind him, and there was nobody. And Tennyson Schmidt able to throw, as you mentioned, 1-2, and then shoot on the third, and untouched after any of it.
Yeah, and really that's the first time that we've seen the Falcons defense look a little bit out of sorts, a little confused, maybe a little bit of miscommunication. As we have a battle for the ground ball here, it's going to end up all the way back.
And then eventually, Johnny on the spot, Tucker Hill, he just has a knack for knowing where the ball's going to be. And then he beats the double team, and a chance to score, shoots it wide. He is just a clever lacrosse player. Cagey, tricky, knows how to play just right in each moment. You just don't see him make many mistakes when he has the ball.
Yeah, we saw Brad Gardner.
That's got to be a moving pick. Yeah, they'll call that on Leone.
Yeah, we saw Brad Gardner slide really quickly to Hill, which you have to do. He has 11 goals on the season. He can hurt you in that transition game coming down.
That ball bounces off the stick of Veers. Eventually, King able to get it together, and he is being hunted down by Tennyson Schmidt.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Knights and unfortunate for Landon Barney, which was a good pass to Isaac, just unable to corral it, and it leads to a goal for the Falcons.
They're able to tie it up. 8-8. 8-7, yep. Sorry. Sorry. I forgot the Knights did get ones. 8-7. They put that score up there awful quick. Talked fancy to me, and I got confused. Fantastic play from King to get that ball one end and just push it down hard, taking advantage of the chaos situation and the lack of organization by the Knights defense. Arnold wins that one, but it slips out of his stick as he tried to pop it up. The face-off rule is interesting. You can put the ball in the back of your stick and pull it up, but you basically have it to keep a pivot foot. You can keep 1 foot down. You take one step, you can pop the ball out, and it's fine. You pick your foot up and take a second step, they'll call you for withholding and a violation turned over. He was able to pop that ball out of his stick, but then couldn't keep it going. Michael Brown with another cause turnover. JT Cotrier with the ball. He's using his speed to push it quickly upfield, turns away from the pressure, trying to find a teammate, and eventually finds Carter Bean.
That was really smart by him. Could have seen him maybe force a little bit of a pass to Sean Lamb, which is where the slide came.
Knights are going to bring their second midfield on with Bryce Gardner, Connor Hackey on the field, and also Zach Sullivan. Sean Lamb trying to get to his right hand. Inside roll. Eventually the shot is blocked. Stocks out of the cage, trying to find somebody to throw the ball to. He runs around the crease. You can see his speed. Sean Lamb is not slow. And then just taking a shot. He thought there was being an open cage. It was not. Caleb Brody grabs that ball, gets it ahead to Tennyson Schmidt. It looked like Stock just kind of gave up on the moment, tired, being chased around by Sean Lamb, who also looked exhausted on that exchange. Now you have Jalen Jones matched up against the venerable Tennyson Schmidt. This is first team all-conference against first team all-conference. Schmidt trying to play a little stop and go. A little quick play. He gets just above the cage. He has a chance to step down and misses wide. And then ball chased down. Great job by Fitzpatrick to chase the ball off the shot and beat Connor Hackey. That over ball unable to be chased by Whitney. Those long passes, defenders work on those all the time. They're not easy. Sean Lamb will shoot wide of the cage. Full shot clock and 8 minutes on the game clock. Pfeiffer managing to close the gap by 1. Knights are going to try to get this back to a 2-goal lead. And the ball thrown away. Not really sure what happened there. It was a little awkward as Lamb was trying to back up, and the ball was high. Schmidt and Lamb playing a little cat and mouse with the 3-line back line.
Just have 5 seconds here. Gonna have to be forced to just throw it over.
And then out of bounds. Good job by both Michael Brown and Brad Gardner playing the ball correctly. You don't have to go for the ball. You got to go for your attackman's stick, and the ball ends up out of bounds. Knights ball. Hackey open on the far side. Smart when you're clearing to go from one side to the other. Yeah, a lot of young defenders make the mistake of trying to beat the attackman on that 50-50 throw up the field. And really what you got to do, because the other team is the one that threw the ball. If it goes out of bounds, to be your ball. 5-hole from Eric Norris. He garners his first goal of the afternoon. 4 goals for the tournament. We don't see 5-hole very often against Matt Stocks. He goes down really quick. Right there, Eric Knorr able to get it to him, but Knorr was so close. That was like a 6-yard shot. You see it on the replay. That ball finding between the hedges of Stock's knees, and you just don't see that often. But when you're shooting from 6 yards, it's about location rather than speed.
Yeah, and I think Stocks knew he wasn't going to be able to get his stick down, as we're going to have a push in the back by Jaden, which really was unnecessary. Going to get possession back to the Falcons. But Stocks knew he wasn't, because Eric Moore was so close, wasn't going to get his stick down. Tried to use his body and got a piece of it, and just not enough that it sneaks past him and in the back of the goal. Knights do have their 2-goal advantage back.
This game being dominated by Tension Schmidt, 4 goals. Several other Knights, Schmidt, Knorr, Thatcher, and Barney all have goals. The lift, a great short stick defensive play. That two-handed wrap check, which has really developed within the last 10 years from the short stick midfielders, is a fantastic tool if you know how to use it right. Ball's down. We haven't seen this very often. The Knights are going to try and get it back. Still down. Michael Brown. No, sorry. Brad Gardner fighting for it. Players all over the place. And King comes out with it. He's stripped from behind by Gabe King. They could call him for playing without his stick. They don't make that call. Push from behind. Ball still down. It's going to end up being a flag on Pfeiffer.
I think it actually is going to end up being on the Knights. It's going to be on JT. I think they just blew it dead because a player was pushed into the crease. That's what it looked like. I guess we'll see it once we get the call, but I think that is what happened. It's going to be on the Knights.
A second man-up opportunity for the Falcons.
It's going to be a cross.
Yeah, cross check.
Which, honestly, because that was against Stocks, is why that's called. We've seen that check being thrown. Maybe that one was a little high from Cotrier, but we've seen that check being thrown from both sides this entire game. But because it's against the goalie, it does change things. As much as everyone's going to say it doesn't, and the refs are going to say it doesn't, it does. And a really good time for the Falcons to have man-up opportunity.
And the best way to save and get a man-up opportunity to go awry is to have your goalie make a save like that. Carter Bean on the spin falls and loses the ball, which he didn't have anybody to throw the ball to. When you're man down and the other team gets organized on their ride, they match up everywhere. And he's the man. That one down low, and another save from Caleb Brody trying to go 5-hole. You saw Sokolowski really look down and Brody reading his stick. And his eyes went down with him. And this time the Knights clear successfully with 2 seconds left on the penalty.
Yeah, much better clear because they were patient. On that last one, as you mentioned before, Carter had no help and tried to do it on his own, and with the slippery turf just falls down.
That ball flicked back. Clever pass from Fitzpatrick to Stocks just before it went out of bounds. Seeing some really nice high IQ lacrosse plays out of both teams today. The lift from Lamb, ball ends up on the ground, but quickly back into Whitney's stick.
What a play by Garrison.
And Garrison Cook gets the deflection, really saving a goal.
This is probably the best we've seen him play. Just all of the little things are adding up for him today. Perfect split. Knows it's a long stick coming down, favored B. Kraft, who's leading goal scorer in the conference, able to scrape that ball, cause it to go out of bounds, allows the defense to get set, and he'll continue to play defense right here.
B. Kraft doing all he could to get that shot to his left hand. Didn't get the most power he's ever had on the shot, but does able to get a decent shot off as Cook really was disruptive. King fighting for his strong hand, and Caleb Brody with his third fantastic save in a row. And then they're going to say that Garrison Cook, the referee's having to break out a protractor right there and a compass to figure out who was closer, doing their best calculus, finding the derivative, and eventually goes to Knights. Tennyson Schmidt decides to pull the ball back out and will let the offense settle up by getting their first line midfielders on. In this case being Sterling Thatcher, joining his line mates Veers and Knorr. Knorr going up against Connell. Connell doing a great job, and eventually Knorr gives the ball up. Sean Lamb, they're going to call a push. That's one where he was going down. I mean, that's so hard for Schenk. Sean Lamb does what we call a toe drag, kind of fakes the shot, brings the ball back. They call it a toe drag because it's kind of like the stick comes across the top of your feet, whether or not it's that close. Anyways, toe drag, right? And the whole point of that is to get underneath the defenseman while keeping the ball in your strong hand. In this case, Sean was really leaning down over his toes, off balance. He was going down, and they're going to say that Schenk gave him a little touch, and either you're going to call in the crease or you're going to call a foul. And unfortunately, if you're a Pfeiffer fan, it goes the way of the Knights.
Yeah, and you're right, because he did slip, and because of that little slip and him already going down, that does make the call, I guess, a little easier for the refs. But the amount of pressure put on Sean was about the same as what he'll get, but because he was falling down, and Knights are able to pay it off. Carter Bean with a man-up goal. Finally, the Knights are able to take advantage of a man-up opportunity.
Bean with his 7th man-up goal of the year. Overall, that's his 27th goal, 10 assists. You got to remember, that's a short stick midfielder putting up those numbers, 36 points. That's phenomenal. Three-goal lead. Felt like the Knights were, momentum-wise, kind of down underneath and not really keeping pace with what was happening from the effort of the Falcons, but they've been able to increase their lead from 2 to 3 here in the third quarter. Really just gritty play, and on the back and the shoulders, the strong shoulders of Caleb Brody.
Yeah, he really has played well all game, but this has definitely been his best quarter.
Currently showing 10 saves. .28 shots total.
Good check by Michael Brown.
Great lift. Then gets a second check and comes up with the ground ball. Fantastic job against Scriven.
They're going to be a slash.
Flag goes down. Ball garnered into the stick of Scriven, and that'll stop the play. And not the smartest of plays in terms of pressuring through the long stick slide that Brown has made, but very aggressive, ends up drawing the penalty, and you don't draw that penalty if you're not aggressive.
Yeah, I agree. Like to see him kick that one out to Sean. For him being a long pull, that was a fairly early slide. But they've done their homework. They know he has 10-plus goals on the season.
Yeah, 13 goals, 4 assists. The Knights, who are currently 1 of 4 on man-up goals.
Tenney was wide open down low. Got it to him a little too late.
And scraping the passing lane and getting his stick was Fitzpatrick, but eventually Schmidt comes up with the ball, and the Knights now in a 3-3 set into Eric Knorr, and he'll put all of his firepower on that off-stick, high corner shot. The great job there as you watch the replay, Knorr's able to catch that ball and keep circling and moving away from the defenders that are behind him, and then stick that ball off stick high. And when you're that close and you saw him really snap it hard, that's hard for Stocks to catch up with.
Yeah, and the way the Falcons play their man-down defense, that spot and this bottom corner, those two spots are going to be open. It's Jalen Jones who's responsible for being on a string back and forth between those two. And if you move the ball quick enough back and forth, which the Knights usually do, as Tucker Hill's shot off of his face-off win goes just wide. But it makes it really hard on him to have to play between those two guys. And Eric Knorr did a great job with the finish, and now it's a 4-goal lead.
With 30 seconds left, the Falcons really need to find a goal here in order to stop the momentum. Beecraft trying to really power move this against Garrison Cook. Cook matching him. Ciosi looking to jump it. Eventually, Beecraft gets away. This is a dangerous stomp. No dodge available. No slide ready to Thornton. He puts it behind back to Beecraft, who fires, and it's in the up underneath the shorts of Brody, and the game clock comes to an end. Brody with another save at the very end. He had no idea. Everybody was looking for the ball. Sometimes it can bounce and come up underneath the arms or the pad. Looks like he was telling the refs it was underneath my shoulder.
Yeah, he knew he had it, and I think he also knew how much time was on the game clock, and that's why it went down. But if you're the Knights and if you're Caleb Brody, you're okay with that shot from Beecraft. That him shooting from that low angle from 10 to 12 yards out is much better than the looks he was getting yesterday. Had a 4-goal game yesterday, averaging 4 goals per game on the season.
And for the Knights, Tension Schmidt has been the probably most dynamic player, but the combination of Sean Lamb and Schmidt, I think they're a little bit out of sorts just in terms of finding the rhythm, but that's attributed to the defense of Pfeiffer. Those two players, 194 points, one of the most dynamic duo in all of lacrosse, Division I, 2, or 3. Sean Lamb has 2 assists. no goals today, as we've seen Schenk do a fantastic job playing him. Schmidt has been able to do a little bit more against Fitzpatrick and has 4 goals, but together 6 points between the two of them.
And that actually gets them to 200.
200 points on the season
exactly
between them,
200.
which is amazing for two players. You won't find two dynamic players like this, but maybe just a couple other teams in the country can put 2 players like this on the field. Jaden Arnold wins the faceoff. They're going to say the ball stuck in his stick. He couldn't get out on the first pop. I'm not sure I agree with that. We'd have to look at the replay, but nevertheless, it's going to be a turnover, and Michael Brown will start on Jones. Knights are looking to shut players off. Jones does a good job getting underneath Brown and forcing Garrison Cook to come off of Beecraft. Beecraft looks like he might have had an angle underneath, and now he throws the ball over the head of Leone.
Yeah, and I know Garrison didn't really have much to do with that turnover, but because of his play through 3 quarters, he's just thrown Beecraft off his game. Just 1 goal, 1 assist, still has 2 points, but really across the board defensively, and it is by committee. Lots of guys in and out on the defensive side of the ball for the Knights, but holding this Falcons team to just 7 goals through 3 quarters is really, really important.
Yeah, especially considering that, Beecraft comes in averaging 4 goals a game. Schmidt gets double and triple team. Fantastic slide from Schenk. Schmidt's still down. That was a hard check that came off the stick of Schenk. Rarely will you see Schmidt stay down. One of the toughest young men that I've ever had the chance to be around, on top of the fact that he brings an attitude that is unmatched of any athlete that I've ever been around in terms of positivity, and it's so infectious to be around. There were a number of times where I was just feeling like, man, we're just not getting it done, and kind of down, where you step on the field and you get a coach, Tenson Schmidt, and all of a sudden your day turns around because of that man's attitude.
Yeah, and it's on and off the field for Tenny. He's just one of those people that you want to be around, and I'm sure he'll be okay, but that was an amazing shot.
Yeah, as Nick Peckins, who plays mostly defense, they were clearing the ball right there, and Peckins just winds up and hammers that ball home. Fantastic clear, both to the clear from Connell, and then finding Peckins, the whole transition process. The Knights just didn't seem to be ready for it, and they're able to get their 8th goal and close the lead to 3. And then Hill wins the faceoff, and if you're not careful, this could turn into another goal. Quick turn and shot from Sokolowski. Real danger moment, as Justin Mitchell had to be very careful how he played that. Wanted to keep Sokolowski down underneath and not give him the middle of the field right there.
Yeah, I just don't think he's cracked his wrist on his shot, because if he did, I think that was going in.
Double team comes. What a great double team between Couture and Brown. And then we call that a squeeze play. When you come in and you're going to stay on the double team, you're yelling, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Brown able to come up with a really nice check. And clever play from Leone. Finds the interception as Veers was trying to get the ball into Knorr. Shot and backed up by Sokolowski. Couture doing a great job in defense. Rajmian thought he could just run over Couture, not realizing that he's got a football player's mentality and just sat down. Thatcher looking inside, doesn't find anybody open, smartly pulls it back out to Lamb, and the Knights will reset. I've been very impressed by the short stick play from both teams today. I think Brown has done the best job. That's why he's in terms of long stick midfield overall. Connor Hackey, 15 yards, middle of the field. Lamb is up against Shank, as we've mentioned. Shank really had the better of this matchup today. That one's a little high to Veers, and Veers just misses the shot. Eventually the flag is thrown by the near side official, and they're going to call either a high hit or a cross check. And they're going to call a cross check as that got into the head of Sean Lamb.
Yeah, but you're right. Other than, I believe that's going to be the second penalty on Shank. Take away those two penalties, and he's been just as impressive as Garrison Cook for the Knights. Sean Lamb just 2 assists, and coming into this one, almost 5.5 points per game, which is basically top 25 in the country. And he's done a really good job making it really hard on Sean Lamb to get to the spots that we usually see him get to on the field.
Yeah, 2 top 25 point getters between Lamb, as you mentioned, about 5.5, and 6 goals per game or 6 points per game for Schmidt. The Knights now aggressive, far play. Schmidt in the crease and finds the far right corner. Stocks goes down but can't find the ball. Not quite quick enough. We've seen that, and you mentioned this, Adam, that crease is open. It's a little soft in this man-down defense for the Falcons.
Yeah, the way they play it just forces that middleman to have to be really quick, and which he is. Jones is a very quick player, probably one of the most athletic players that we have seen on this field all year. But even so, it's still really hard for him to get up and down that quick.
Yeah, you've got to make a decision in your man-down defense. Are you going to play 5 out and try and share the middle? Are you going to shut down the crease and rotate outside? Are you going to try and do a combination of the two? Sometimes you'll find teams shut a man off and play 4-on-5. This face-off gathered in, eventually the ground ball by Stocks, and he's being hounded by Tennyson Schmidt. Get the ball ahead to Shank, and Shank with a nice little move to beat Sean Lamb. So 10.5, 46 on the shot clock. Pfeiffer needing to close. They're not in any real danger moment right now. You definitely don't want to go down 5, but you score a goal right here and you're still in a really great situation because you have Tucker Hill. Garrison Cook playing strong, right-footed there, putting that ball eventually into the right hand of Beecraft, his weak hand, and save from Caleb Brody, walking the dog from Brad Gardner, puts it in his left hand and walks the dog again, gets the shot off and scores the goal. Amazing play in transition from Brad Gardner. Decides to take the dog for a walk, not once, but twice, and then able to get the bounce shot past the stick of the goalkeeper, Matt Stocks.
And I don't know if we've seen a sideline celebration for a goal scored as big as that one that we just saw off that goal from Brad Gardner. But it all starts again at the defensive end. Beecraft forced into his right hand, still got a good look even with his right hand, but again, it's one of those that Caleb Brody's probably pretty comfortable with Beecraft in his right hand, even from within 10 yards. So a good job by Garrison Cook. Great ground ball by Brad Gardner. And walks a dog a couple times and
takes the little, we'll call it, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, we'll say it was a boxer, not a Pomeranian. I'm sure he's a boxer, man. And that ball down on the ground, 7 seconds left in the clearing, and they get it across fairly comfortably.
But you're right, now the deficit is 5 for them as that shot just sails wide. But now they are in do or die mode. Like, every offensive possession means that much more right now. Can't end with empty possessions.
That off the far pipe into the stick. Unfortunate for B-Craft. That was a fantastic shot. Garrison Cook worried about him coming back to his strong hand with an inside roll. Great save by Stocks. That could not have been a better, more timely save. They cannot go down 6 goals. Exactly what Coach Nelson needed out of his goalie. Yeah, when you're down the same number of points as the minutes minutes left in the game, timeout coming from Coach Nelson. So 8 minutes left in the game, you're down by 5. That's very doable. You get to the point where it's you got to score a goal a minute. When you're in an 80-second shot clock era, that can be really difficult to do because the other team is going to wear that clock down. Now, to the advantage or to the opportunity of the Falcons, they've got Tucker Hill. And with Tucker Hill, you're always in an opportunity to make it take it, although Jaden Arnold has held his own and then some. It's 18 to 7, but he's turning them into 50-50 balls.
Yes, for sure.
Most of those 18, I say maybe only 5 of the 18 have been clean wins by Hill right to himself. The rest, it's been better play on the wings from the Falcons.
That is true. The only bad part about that is those 5 have come in the past 7 to 10 minutes. About halfway through the third until now, he really has started to pick up his play and started to kind of dominate at the X, which is not a position you want to be in for the Knights, but that's why they have this 5-goal cushion. And really, defensively, they are playing really well, holding a team that is usually scoring 15 goals a game, just about 15 goals a game, to 8 right now. Just a little bit less than half of what they're used to scoring. That
being said, the Knights have come in conference play averaging 24 points per game. And that's a crazy amount of goals. They're sitting on 13 right now. Pfeiffer's defense has been fantastic as well.
And yes, defense have been great, but really, we've talked about it multiple times, both goalies have really stepped their games up and made saves that have kept these numbers low and kept their team in it, especially Stocks.
And King turns and throws the ball, expecting his teammate to be there. Ball stays in, but Michael Brown's able to scoop it up off the carpet, puts it ahead quickly to Cotrier. Cotrier finding Gabe King, but King can't secure the ball. He's able to keep it in and flicks the underhand pass to Sean Lamb. Lamb looks cross crease. Schmidt hitch, fires, and it's going to be backed up by Stocks coming the other way. Slow the game down? No, sir. Not these two teams.
And so that shot by Tenney and going back to the last save by Stocks against Carter Bean, about in the same spot. Usually you're really happy if you're Coach Lamb, if Carter Bean and Tenney Schmidt are getting looks from that distance, that wide open, really. And one really good save by Stocks is we're going to have the ball on the floor. This is a really huge ground ball. Great work.
And the ball down again. The short stick combination of DeJarlis and Bean doing yeoman's work against the attackmen and midfielders of the Falcons. B-Craft throws the ball back, and they're picked off on the cross crease feed by Carter Bean, and he's going to speed down the field. Not a lot there. We'll see what Lamb chooses to do with this.
Yeah, I think smart to slow this one down got to give these defensive middies a little bit of a rest. They've been back and forth a couple times now, pushing in transition. But a huge interception and clear by Carter Bean.
Lamb and Shank going mano-a-mano, the second line midfield in. King will give it up to Bryce Gardner. Now Connor Hackey against the LSM play. That's Mike Turner. King with a right-handed shot, and Stocks will eat that one up. Defense is doing a great job in this quarter of putting the players to their weak hands and giving the goalies the best chance to make a save. This one up ahead to Stocks. He's going to end up going over, and he'll have Tennis and Schmidt on him. Leone trying to make himself available. Still having the ball. Everybody being shut off. This is the craziest thing. And it free in front of the crease, spins, and eventually ball on the ground. There is nobody in cage. Big hit in the crease against Tennis and Schmidt. And the shot and the goal from Matt Stocks. One of the most unbelievable lacrosse plays I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I don't know what to say after that one. Other than that, could be a game-saving goal. Makes a really good stop against King, who, yeah, right-handed shot wasn't great, but important save. You cannot go down by 6 with under 6 minutes left. Makes a save, then clears the ball, throws about 35 fakes to somehow get Tenney off of him, takes a hit. Caleb makes a good save, gets it back eventually.
After putting Tennyson on the ground, that whole thing was incredible. Stocks down. You can't see it on the video. He's at the other end of the field. Got his stick above his head. He is exhausted. Sean Lamb trying to get this ball in his stick. Eventually he does. Timely face-off win for Jaden Arnold. Pumping his fist as he comes off the field.
And a huge lift from Lamb against Shank. Shank thought he was going to be able to scoop that one up pretty easily, but really savvy veteran move from Lamb. Seen him do that plenty of times on this field.
Connell and Thatcher will face off far side. 4 minutes left, down by 4. Looks like there's a stop in play. Now we get it going again.
Yeah, and this is really one of those possessions that I was going to say if the Knights score really might put this game away, they're going to call it Ward on Gabe King.
That is a soft call.
Yeah.
What a move by Jones. They'll stop and fake. The trail check comes, and offsides. Shouldn't be a flag. Both teams are offsides. Should be coinciding penalties, coinciding infractions. Unless you can absolutely tell which team went off first.
Which part of the reason the Knights do this ride is to limit this. They're not going to go off sides unless you go off sides.
Yeah, because they match feet.
And
they're calling offsetting penalties. Is this football? Did a football game? I've never seen offsetting penalties called. I don't even know what that is. I have not memorized the rule book, but offsetting penalties is what I heard, and I'm not sure how that plays out.
Also, you can correct me if I'm wrong or answer this question for me. When has being off sides as the offense been a penalty rather than
great save by Caleb Brody. Beecraft cannot grab that one. Garrison Cook with the ball, lifts it ahead to Lamb. Lamb gets checked just as he throws it. He's going to say it was a shot. It was not a shot. It was a pass to Schmidt. We've talked about Sean Lamb being so much mature and smarter over the years as he's grown into this incredible lacrosse player that he is. That one was probably an ill-timed force. He didn't force the shot, but he didn't get his hands free to make the pass.
And the Knights are offsides again.
And so Gabe King will go back. King finding the cutting teammate. That was Ajmian cutting to the crease, and he can't quite corral it. He had a great game yesterday, doing a lot of just little things inside. Hasn't quite been able to pull that same game out today.
Yeah, a lot of that right there. Catching those types of passes on the crease and finishing, and we just haven't seen that from him.
Garbage goals in front of the cage.
Yeah. Really him and Beecraft. We saw a lot of really cool things from them yesterday, and today just haven't seen much of that. Unfortunate for them and being the game that this is in the conference championship. But still, said it multiple times, got to give credit to the Knights defense. But this really is probably the game. If the Knights are able to get a stop here on this man-up opportunity for the Falcons, probably going to be able to close it out.
Falcons 0 for 2, third man-up opportunity on the day. Beecraft down underneath. Great job finding him. The Knights slow to rotate on that play where Beecraft comes from the crease and pops down low as the ball is carried up high, and you have to be really smart to see that play come into focus. If you're going to cover it, it's got to happen early because there's no time to recover because he catches the ball so close to the cage. So that rotation as he comes off the crease has to happen right away. You have to basically follow him off the crease.
Yeah, and there was no one there to follow him. And Falcons able to get a face-off win. Jones able to control it. Good knockdown, though, by Jaden Arnold.
And then into the stick. Jaden Arnold didn't win the face-off, but is able to deflect the pass, and Carter Bean comes up with it. That is incredible play. Carter Bean pushing hard in the middle of the field, takes a shot from behind. Pass goes awry. This is 2 passes. The Knights could have killed another 70 seconds on each one of those, and the game would be over. Giving a chance. And this is really where your DNA can come into play. Can you change in the moment when you need to? Hill goes down. Jones comes up with the ball.
Knights again, offsides. Not sure if they're going to be called for it. But
No, they're not offsides because Tension Schmidt, I think, can step on.
No, they have 7 on the defense.
Oh, they do have 7. Another killing the smart play.
Moves.
Yes.
Really smart
wow, what a great play from Leone. So they could continue to play 6-on-7 ball. Right? Their man down essentially because the Knights have an extra man on the field. What Leone does is he takes a shot from far away to kill the clock so that they can go from 6-on-7 to 6-on-5.
Yeah. Got to give him credit. I think he probably was getting some help from his coaching staff.
I'm going to say that he knew that all on his own.
He might have known, but it does never
He's
hurt
a senior.
To have some help from your friends.
He's a senior. He knew exactly what was going on there. So here we have another opportunity. They scored in their last man power play opportunity, last man up.
Yeah, and they have to score. If Caleb Brody makes a save, that's the game.
Ball down on the ground. Michael Brown gets triple teamed into the stick of Beecraft. Save from Caleb Brody. He's going to try and track it down. Can't get there. Fantastic ground ball from Sokolowski.
Yeah, that
penalty's done as Cotrier comes down. Shot and wide and backed up by Sokolowski. Johnny on the spot to get the backup and finish as the play had ended. as the power play ended.
Yes. And yes, there's still 44 seconds, down 2 goals. There is an opportunity, but Caleb Brody's save allows about 15 more seconds to roll off the clock, which I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch Duke Notre Dame today, but one of the things that Matt Ward said was there has to be a stat of how many goals are scored 10 seconds after a penalty is released. Because it's so hard on the defense. Yes, you're getting that man back, but you're trying to get back into that man-to-man concept. And that's part of the reason why that goal is scored. But Jaden Arnold just wins the biggest face-off of his career.
Absolutely the biggest face-off of his career. That win could possibly seal this for the Knights.
Yeah, and it should. Get the ball back into Tenney's stick, and he'll find an open man. He can run for 20 minutes, let alone 20 seconds around this field.
He finds Sean Lamb. Ball's down. Timeout by Coach Lamb. Wow. Coach Lamb showing the veteran, the many years, the Hall of Famer that he is, to make that timeout call. Fantastic job. He was sitting on that. I know he had grabbed the referee and said, listen, I'm going to call timeout.
Yep.
And they made the call right at the exact spot where his team needed it.
Because it great timeout, but it also does give the Falcons an opportunity to set up a little trap here. They're going to pull the goalie, do everything they can to get the ball back as quickly as possible, which with 16 seconds remaining on the clock, don't want to say impossible, but just about that, especially with the caliber of players that you have on the field for the Knights and the ball carrying ability from Tennyson Schmidt, Sean Lamb, Ty Veers.
But you've got Jones, you've got Fitzpatrick, you've got Shank. I mean, you've got some real athletes out here that can chase this ball down. It'll be interesting to see who they put on the ball.
And Stocks might be the most athletic of them all.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Great point. So it looks like they'll probably put 2 poles on the ball. I would think it'll be Whitney and Shank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Whitney and Fitzpatrick starting on the ball. So, watching Tucker Hill play, he has done a phenomenal job in the second half, in particular in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
That being said, 2 plays from Jaden Arnold. That last faceoff win. And then that deflection that Carter Bean was able to corral off of the pass from Jones were 2 incredible plays from Arnold that really have given the Knights an opportunity to have this ball now up by 2.
Looks like we're going to have the second and final timeout of the half called by the Knights. Let the Falcons get out there, show a little bit what they're going to do, a little bit like we see in basketball. Not so much in lacrosse.
You never see this in lacrosse because rarely do you're sitting on 2 timeouts to be in this situation, and you only get 2 a half.
Yeah.
Knights fans are cheering. You see the Pfeiffer Falcon fans, a bit of angst, a little pall above the left side of the stands. Anticipation from the Knights side of the stadium. This would be the Knights men's lacrosse team first conference championship in program history as an NCAA team. Being in the Capital Athletic Conference and having to face Salisbury every year, and then in the last 5 years, the development of York and CNU has made that conference an absolute behemoth. York is now gone, SVU is gone, CNU and Salisbury still left in what is now called the Coast to Coast Conference.
We're actually probably finishing up their game just about now.
Right.
In that conference tournament game.
Can't wait to get in and see as CNU had taken it too. But let's get back to this one. 18 seconds. The stick check called. The move by Coach Nelson. We'll talk about this in a minute. Let's focus on the play right now. He called a stick check on Jaden Arnold, which calling it on a faceoff guy is a brilliant play. And Coach Lamb celebrating with Arnold that his stick came out legal. That's an awesome play. Another great play. Face-off, or start of the play, Sean Lamb, he outruns the double team. He's going to have to try and run. He tries to split it, trying to swim, goes down. Ball still in his stick. They're going to call a push from behind. I thought they maybe could have called a withholding. And Sterling Thatcher comes up with the ball, and the Knights end up USA South Conference champions. First time ever. Celebrate it if you're a Knights fan, but got to give so much credit to these Pfeiffer Falcons and the effort, the quality of play, so many smart things. I see Coach Nelson down kind of just by himself in the corner down here. He'll grab his men and bring them together and celebrate, but they did so many things to bring this game to a very close ending. Got to give so many props to both teams and a number of plays. We could sit here for 30 minutes and evaluate this play and the amazing effort and the IQ plays, the little moments here and there that really resulted in both the win for the Knights, but this close opportunity for the Falcons to try and put the game into overtime or win it.
Yeah, plenty of championship moments, we can call them, fits well on this championship Saturday, where the Knights are able to take their first ever conference tournament championship home. And it hurts that much more for the Falcons because they've been there before. They've been on the other side of this, and they know what it's like to win a conference tournament championship and go to the NCAA tournament. And that's why it hurts that much more for them. But they'll be back. We know they will be back.
Yeah, you look down this. I mean, there are a number of seniors, and they had good leadership in the right places. In fact, on every space on the field, you could argue that in every position, they might have had the best player on the field, like arguably Beecraft, Stocks, Jones, Hill. The Knights, though, you could argue the same thing on the other side. It was the right thing to have these two teams playing each other in the finals. And in the end, the Knights show that first win against the Falcons was not a fluke. They back it up and get the conference win. And now they have a chance for the very first time to go play in the NCAA tournament, which is what you're looking for. It helps so much in recruiting. It helps in your team morale. And no matter what happens, that opportunity is what you're fighting for to start with. You just want to have a chance to be at the table.
Yep. And we got what we asked for. We got an excellent game of lacrosse today that came down to literally the last seconds. And Knights are able to come away with the victory, 13-11, in a game that was just a lot of fun to watch.
So as we close out this amazing conference weekend, this championship tournament held here at Knights Stadium, beautiful scenery. You can see out behind us in the window. It's a gorgeous field, brand new turf this year. I think a perfect opportunity for Southern Virginia University to showcase what it can offer the conference. And that being said, this men's lacrosse team for the Knights come away victorious at home. Excellent opportunity to see lacrosse played at a very high level for this Central Virginia community, for the North Carolina and USA South people that have traveled north. This is just an amazing place for lacrosse to be played. A thrill for us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Takeaways, Adam, takeaways for this tournament.
Yeah, I think biggest takeaway right off the bat is the level of play is really increasing in this area of the country, which is a lot of fun for us to watch, especially in this conference. So excited to see that growth over the next couple years. But in this game, more specifically, Knights had to deal with some adversity. At halftime, we talked about how they were not dominating, but were leading in almost every statistical category other than saves. But you look at it now, Pfeiffer ended with more shots on goal, and Caleb Brody actually ended with more saves. Really had to step up, but defensively fought through a lot of adversity to get where they are right now as conference tournament champions.
Yeah, I would say that Caleb Brody probably gets my Player of the Game award. You're going to go between him and Tension Schmidt, who had 5 goals. Yep. But Caleb Brody in the fourth quarter had a number of saves that were right on the doorstep. I think he's Player of the Game. I think that Tennis and Schmidt is right there. I think Matt Stocks lived up to the billing. Yep. He's amazing. First team all conference.
Yep.
As he second. Was he first team or second team? I'm drawing a blank because we had them both playing yesterday. The Piedmont. I apologize. Call that out, but definitely all conference player, and he lived up to that billing. I thought B. Kraft and Lamb were kind of held down by excellent play of Shank and Garrison Cook, who I would give kind of honorable mention. Yep. Both those players, honorable mention players of the game. The Knights you can see down on the field celebrating. Adam, this has been a thrill all year long to be up here in the booth with you, watch the Knights play, and all the USA South and visitors that came in. Got to give huge props to Craig Reese leading the production team, putting this thing together, adding in instant replay. We have more to come on the broadcasting side. Stay with us. Hopefully, if you're out there watching, you'll come back as the athletics season ends for Knights broadcasting. Much more to come in the future. I'm Scotty Winterton with Adam Peterson. Thank you, Craig Reese, and everybody that's joined and put an effort into making Knights broadcasting is what it is. Everybody take care of each other out there. God bless.
And go Knights.